Hey guys, my name is HumanBeing156 and this is Drawing the Human Figure from Your Mind lesson 156. Okay, so now continuing on, we'll just keep adding to this area here. So let me just do the same thing over here so this drawing doesn't get smudged over here. Just erase this so we'll look at this in a little bit. Okay, so now from this area here, right? So here we know that, okay, well, right about here, I mean, depending on the type of hands you want to make, they're going to be different for everyone. But here we can see that, okay, well, basically what's going to happen is this is where that connection for the bone is over here anyways, right? And it's going to be like, it's going to create that layer on top, and then you're going to start getting the other layers over here for that thumb area, for that other muscle that we talked about, just like so, right? So because this guy here, it's going to kind of be like stretched depending on how you want to do this. So in this contact, we can like shade him a little bit on top, give him like a bulge here, meaning that we understand this concept here about the bulge, and we can smooth this out over here because it's connecting with that where that bone was. And then over here we can put in that second muscle that's going about its business over here, and that's going to connect to the underneath of this middle finger. So here you can see that how easy this is to develop for, right? Without looking at any references, we can pretty much just understand that that's what's going on here. And if you need to look, you can look at your arm to actually your hand to understand this. But over here is where we need to look at that angle for the thumb. So we're saying that in that plane, the angle for the thumb is pretty much going to be pretty steep, right? Depending on how we want to do this. So here we could have that thumb going in this direction over here, like so. And where this bone connects is where it's going to have that bulge over here. And then you can put in a few lines over here specifying that and understand what's going on. But just understanding that the thumb is on a different angle than these guys, right? So here we can just determine that by not obviously drawing the other side here. And it's much more pointy, right here. So you can make it more pointy if you want. Okay, so over here we know that where this skin is connecting, and it's going to have that pulp. So the fingers are surrounded by pulp, right? So underneath that thumb area, because of where this finger is, it's going to have that bulge underneath. It's just going to go like, kind of like this. Here, and then you also know that where that bone is, right? So the muscles aren't very massive, just like what was going on with the human head. So over here, when we know that there's a connection over here, you're going to get at least a sharp turn over here for that thumb, right? And the knuckle for the thumb. It's going to go like this. Okay, and the other thing is now understanding these systems over here. So let's see, what is this over here? Because let's just look at this from the wrist area for a second. Okay, so where the ulna is, right? This ulna is going to come here, then you're going to get that skin, but it's connecting over here, and then we know the wrist begins here. So meaning that in this area here is that are all these pulley systems going into the forearm, and they're going to be surrounded by a strap of uh, like fibers here to keep these things together, otherwise they'll go all over the place. Meaning that here you can now tell that, okay, well, the wire, that pulley system, that tendon for this thumb, right, that we see on the top of the hand, it can't be over here. It has to compensate for that space over here first. It has to come down about here, and then it's going to start going in its direction here, meaning that just like on that understanding for where that clavicle is as to where you get those ditches, you're going to pretty much get a ditch over here around here, and then it's going to go and do what it's go up here, and then you're going to be able to at least see that tendon from here. So it's not going to be this strong here, but you at least know how this is coming. It's over here, because the other tendon, that's because it's made up of two tendons. The other one you can see from here, right, and this is going to be here, kind of like this, and the other tendon is on that other side, like this. So it's going to give you like a nice sharp angle, but it's going to have a little, a bulge to it, because so if you can see that muscle, this muscle here that we talked about from the side a little bit, depending on different cases, you'll see that. So we can just put that in there, just like this. Okay, so now we know that, right, the connection between these 2 points, right, you're going to get a slight ditch here, because this is now going to set it up for this guy to start curving up here. So now let's understand what's supposed to be happening over here. So just what we're doing here is helping the mind understand these or approximate locations as to how the skin connects. It doesn't connect where this knuckle is joining here. It connects over here, and this is the top muscle, then that bottom muscle over here. Okay, so we got all this going. So over here we know about, we can just lightly put this in like this. Take out that line here for that pull that main tendon here on the top of the knuckle, right? And we know we can at least see how he's going to be, and then we also know about that they're just not hanging there, they have something on top of them, right? And then he's going to fall down into a step over here. Then you start to get that ball shape, and then it'll get into the fat system. So meaning to picture this, I guess we can do a drawing saying that, okay, I understand what's going on here. So what we're saying is, to understand the knuckles, is that if you have this tendon, let's say this is that tendon going over that knuckle like this, okay, the tendon is going over that knuckle this way. We're cutting it, we're doing like a cut shape, and then you're going to have, right, all these they're going to be like put together like this, and then you're going to get that bone here for that other finger, and that bone here for that other finger. So meaning that you can see that how this is going, right? You have a curve here, it's going to drop down, then it's going to drop down, but then it's going to hit all that fat area over here, meaning that the finger is going in this direction, and this is the other finger. So it's going to go into a plane, just like this. So over here, that's what's happening here. You're going to get that over here, then you're going to get a slight bulge over here as to how you see this on your hand, and then it can't go inside because it hits this the muscles over here, because the hand is fairly thick. So here I'll just sharpen this pencil real quick. Do the same thing here with this guy. Right, so this is like that bone area, right? So if you touch, like if you look at this on the top of your knuckles, right, you'll see that you can feel these tendons, and right next to them you can feel the actual bone. That's how close these bones are. So you're pretty much drawing the tendon, and then you're compensating for that bone, and then it's just going to end up, it's kind of, it'll get like smooth over here on this side here. So here we can just smooth this out, so we know he's going to come up over here, and it's going to be pretty light over here, like this. And just do the same thing over here. You could put in those lines over here for the fingers, just to get these ideas across. And here that we know that the finger is round, right, and this tendon, this long tendon is going over here, meaning that this also gives us an understanding of how it's not going to be like this, but how the finger is kind of round. It's kind of like almost squarey looking, right, from the sides here. So we can here pretty much just put in a little shading here, specifying that it's kind of squarey, because it's got all these tendons here on the side here. Then there's not much going on the side here, and it falls down. Right. The fingers aren't round, they're kind of boxy shaped. Especially from the sides here, from the insides. Okay, so over here we know that in generalizing, we can see these two tendons over here, and over here they're just going to connect fairly close to each other over here. So here we can just lightly put this in, that we understand that this tendon would go here. It's not going to be so straight, just like this, and it disappears. You have to draw it all the way over here, and then do the same thing over here for this guy. And of course you get the veins on the top and stuff like that. They're going to pretty much meet over here, and that's what's going to happen over here to the hand. And then over here we know that you can hardly see them, so it's more of a suggestive idea here, right, over here. And then it's just more of a it's more on an angle, and also it's also more on has more fat on top of this area here. And here we know about this side area here going in this direction, and you're going to get into that area of here for the wrist. So over here for that small finger, the pinky finger, you know, over here you're hardly going to see, because these guys are quite big here, and over here this gets a little small, and it's just a blemish really of that knuckle, and you're not going to see it so superficial over here. So these two knuckles are more superficial, and these guys just blend in, merge into the hand. So meaning that over here we don't have to worry about this bulge over here on the hand. It's more of a slight, just very tiny bit. Here we can do the same thing for that small finger. Here we can just shade him in a little bit, specifying that we understand that it's not a round finger. These fingers are kind of like boxy shapes, not perfect boxes, but boxy shapes. Okay, so just let's finish this up and finish this finger over here. Doing that same thing over here. This in, put this in over here. So here you can see the ratios, right? How the middle finger is longer and where these ratios are. This is under him, this is under him, under him, under him, and this small finger is about where this guy is, the ending of him. Just keep that in mind. What's going on with the hand. And then a little bit too. Just put its fingers over here. So in that review, we understand about that these two knuckles here, right, they're more superficial, and it's got this bulge here, how this muscle connects, and you can mainly see two of these lines. Over here, it kind of fuzzes out, depending on what that person is doing. And we can, and this, in these sections here, it's kind of a ditchy area here because of those muscles. But over here, it's much more softer and fattish on the hand. Okay, so next we'll start looking at the palm. Hope you join me for that. Thanks.